AKshayn D Souza, as per the recent findings of this India Consumer Sentiment Index, about 73% of the total number of people who were surveyed, they're saying that they have started making more health-conscious choices as an effect of the COVID-19 pandemic. How do you see that reflected in the way urban consumers are spending today on goods and services?
So thanks for having me, Vikram. So firstly, I think what we saw since January, there were products in FMCG that were also very hyperinflationary,
right?
Especially your commodities exhibited a lot of inflation. So as a result of that, up until June, we saw a lot of consumers actually downtrading significantly from their usual purchase patterns. What we're now seeing, in early July, what we kind of started seeing is some of these categories, where the prices started dropping, especially say edible oils, for example, there's been a significant drop. We've seen the consumption moving back to high value packs. At the same time, seeing the discretionary products, which are mainly affected, right? You see your personal care, your packaged foods, all of those, we're seeing an uptick in consumption for those immediately. Now, one of the key reasons, especially in urban, for that, is that you now have everybody back out of home. So you have schools that are functional, you have colleges that are functional, offices are coming back, residential commercial property sales are at an all-time high, a 9-year high from a commercial property standpoint, which all point to a strong comeback of economic activity in urban, which is obviously driving consumption. Now, what we possibly expect finally in July, and I think this will come out, this report will kind of come out in the next week or so, is that we should see, consumption which was in the red up until June might just turn slightly black now. So I think that's what we're looking towards and what we probably are heading towards coming forward.
As far as you're concerned, Akshay, even when we are looking at the consumption pattern, that trend that we're talking about, Atmanirbharta, it doesn't seem to have hit the sale of luxury goods and services. The majority of players are foreign brands in that space, and growth seems to be intact over there. Is there a divergence on luxury consumption trends from the Atmanirbhar theme, according to you?
Yeah, definitely. I think inflation at the bare basic has affected the common man more than it's affected the the real well-to-do to that extent. I think it's the common man who's kind of made compromises far more than people who are well off. And I think luxury goods, because they're also not very large market, so to speak, in India yet, compared to developed countries, for example, you will see a disproportionate high pace of growth in that space. And I think that is going to continue, maybe for more than a couple of years actually going forward. And I think that trend will kind of pan out very, very quickly, irrespective of inflation.
What comes as a bit of a surprise, Akshay, is that people are still quite hesitant about using digital payments and doing online transactions for their purchases. That's coming out in this survey as well. A majority of respondents in that Consumer Sentiment Index survey, roughly 61% of the ones who were surveyed are saying that they haven't done a digital payment. Why do you think that's really the case? And do you think that would mar prospects of higher growth in consumption, the hesitation among people to jump on the digital payments platforms?
I think the way you have to kind of look at India is the digital payment story in India probably is among the best in the world at the moment. When you actually look at how well UPI actually has performed in the country. Now, with on the back of UPI, you now obviously have a very, very strong base to build. And a lot of companies who kind of taken charge in trying to build adoption, especially for that payment method. I think what's to be kind of read into that number really is the other 40% who actually adopted and have made a UPI, a digital payment, so to speak. I think that's a very, very strong base to build from a country of India's size and breadth, and as this whole digital payment philosophy gets down to every last kirana, I think at Bizom what we clearly think is.
Thanks very much, Akshay and Ronan, for joining us with your perspective on this tonight.